Super Dave here with another Super Dave review. Super Dave here with another exciting Masters of the Universe Origins cartoon collection review. That's right. And this time, the 2000X. That 2001, 2002, I think it was 2002. It also appeared on Nickelodeon. May have been originated on Nickelodeon, but it was the Mike Young production. Some of you have been really stoked about this. We're also getting some from Mundo, the 1/12 scale, which is really cool. I already got He-Man, Clawful, and Skeletor on order. 2 He-Man figures, the deluxe, timed edition, and the regular, because to me, they look awesome. And they're, about the size of classics, maybe a hair taller, but a little shorter, tad shorter than Masterverse. Look like they're going to fit in with either line. To me, we're going to check them out when they come in. But here is more on the origin scale. But they're not just 5 inches anymore, 5 1/4. They are bigger than your normal Origins figures, vintage style figures. I think they're trying to kind of find a sweet spot between Masterverse and Origins so they can keep that line running. I've got on the way right now the final, I believe, wave of Masterverse figures. Not vintage collection, but like your New Eternia, New Etheria, unless they, revive it later. From my understanding, the final 3, which includes that Keldor and a couple of others. But we're going to be taking a look at these 2 behemoths. These are on the larger scale, but you have here Ram Man, the cartoon collection, and you can see it's that logo from the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe from the 2000X line. And Ram Man was huge in that cartoon, and it is the cartoon collection. So that's looking cool. And then this one just really impressed me. I didn't even think that I would want to get into these, but just take a look at this Beastman. He is just looking so phenomenal. I'm just impressed with this figure, and you can see the beautiful artwork on the sides that just look really neat. I mean, those figures really did look good, or those characters, I should say, on that cartoon. I'm a fan of that cartoon. I really enjoyed it. It only ran for like almost 2 seasons, but it was really good, and it shows what episode these were seen on, shows some of the things that you can do, and the 2 that are in this wave as far as the big boys. And that's really cool. On the bottom, there's the barcode if anybody needs it. It has that nice artwork that just kind of folds in with that 2000X version or style of Castle Grayskull. And I'll show you the side of the box of Ram Man as well. Boy, he's looking angry there. Don't know if we get an extra head here or not. There is that beautiful artwork on the back. You see He-Man in the background. And there is another close-up of our Ram Man. He's just looking cool. So let's go over here on Eternia and break them open and check them out. Looking at our 2 cartoon collection from the 2000X Origins line, Behemoths, Ram Man, and Beastman. We have a good guy versus a villain. And look at these. They are huge. They are big. And they did not come in our typical blister card. They came in boxes with a blister card inside, like a plastic cutout thing. And they were entrapped in there with only really 2 accessories. Ram Man came with his traditional looking axe that he can hold in either hand. And then Beastman came with his rubbery, non-posable, non-wired black rubber whip. And they are both looking awesome as far as their aesthetic. But to me, that's about it. I mean, if you're going to just put these on the shelf and reminisce of the show, then these are perfect. But, I lean more toward Masterverse because I like playing with mine and posing them and bending them and doing really cool things with them. And you cannot really do that with these much. But they do have better articulation than the original vintage. Now, there is one other thing they came with. No, it is not a comic book, but it is a card. It's like a profile card. You have a little picture on the front, and on the back you have a little write-up about the figure. Heroic Human Battering Ram. And then you have the same thing over here For Beastman, you have this really nice card. And on the back, a savage henchman, as you see. So, that is what they came with. That is their accessories. Now let's take a quick look at their articulation. Alright, first taking a look at our Ram Man. Let's bring him on in here. And unfortunately, I do have to report that he doesn't really have a whole lot of articulation. They certainly could have done a better job, in my opinion. He does not look up but that much. I mean, that's it. He cannot look up any more than that. His helmet does not hit this back part. It just hits the back of his neck or shoulders. And that's as far as he can look up. And he can only look down that much, which is pitiful as well. No ability to look up or down. Not even helped out by the diaphragm, because all he can do there is swivel at his stomach at the break there. So that's disappointing. Now this part lifts up a little bit, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it can be taken off, but he looks dumb with that off, so you know, we can pop that right back on. But yeah, it's just disappointing. I mean, they nailed his face. His face looks really good. He is going to be able to get full 360 and, you know, just kind of move that out of the way. No bicep swivel. Look, with this kind of guy and that break right there, they could have given us a bicep swivel, in my opinion. I mean, really? Come on now. I just feel like that's, you know, weak. They definitely should have given us a bicep swivel. You know, if they're going to go so far as to make these guys big and taller, why don't they just go a step further and make it where you can move that? Because, you know, you can't really move that. Of course, you get single jointed elbows like normal. They really did give him, you know, a big arm and cut, and you can swivel at the elbow, but I mean, that's it. You can bend in and swivel at the wrist. So there's a hinge on those wrists, and you see where I kind of curved that in. It would have been nice if you could have had a vertical hinge on this hand, in my opinion. But yeah, that's it. I mean, you can't come out there. You can bend in, let's see, not, well, maybe you could call that 90 degrees, but not quite. And again, it does swivel at the elbow, bend and swivel at the wrist. And you can get, you know, a T-pose out of that arm as well. But I don't know, you do so much more with it if you could have the ability to have a bicep swivel, in my opinion. Now, there is a split here, so it looks like, yeah, we're pretty much going to be able to get full splits without the skirt hindering. This is a wide fella. You can see up there, no springs or no special, you know, things like that. And because that skirt is so soft, he will be able to kick out about that much. He'll be able to kick back, or I should say do a stride backwards, just a slight amount. He does have the swivel at the knee. Go ahead and move this out of the way so you can see that you can, with that single jointed knee, bend about that much. There's also a boot cut. He's going to be able to get full tiptoes. He's going to go up all the way with that boot foot, and rockers with a peg hole in the bottom. And so see, they do all of that down here at the bottom, but they just give us so very little. I mean, we even have, let's see if you have, I don't know. No, you don't have a thigh swivel, I'm sorry. But you do have the boot cut and the knee swivel there. So, I mean, still there's a lot more motion, in my opinion, on the lower half of these figures than in the upper half of this figure especially, but even in the arms for all of the Origins style figures. And that's why I scratch my head to figure out, why did people tend to gravitate toward the Origins line instead of the Masterverse line? I still scratch my head to that. I don't understand it. Is it nostalgia because of vintage? Is it the cost? Or is it the look? Because it sure won't the playability or the articulation. But anyway, I digress. Let's go on to Beastman and check out his articulation. I will say Beastman does a little better job. I mean, he's going to be able to look up a really good amount with that head. He's going to be able to look, whoopsie daisy, I popped it off. Let's go back. He's going to be able to look down as much as he's going to need to. And yeah, he gets pivot, because pivot is basically a side to side with this guy. I don't know, to turn his head, you kind of have to do that. And he's got that too. He's got the ability to turn it a little bit. So that's really cool. And since I did pop that off, I will show you that that is removable. And you see that really wide, nice, muscular torso from the back angle and the front angle. Of course, this is going to look better on there. But instead of it sticking straight up, that peg is sticking straight out, almost horizontally instead of vertically. So it's going to, make the dynamic of the head, double the motion in a lot of ways, and reverse from what other figures with that vertical dumbbell hinge upward, or dumbbell ball joint, I should say, would perform. Now this figure is really nice because I love the face sculpt. I just love the overall look and design of him. I mean, he looks like he came out of the 2000X cartoon. He really has that bulk, that intimidation, but yet the same features and color and overall design and aesthetic that you expect from a Beastman. Now, one thing, my biggest complaint on this guy, even though he has great articulation on the head, is I wish we had gotten another head sculpt so that you don't have this odd expression all the time. But again, that kind of plays into the idea, like I've said, with no more articulation these guys have, you pretty much are going to pose them, sit them on the shelf, and enjoy them, and that's it. Whereas with Masterverse, you can pose them in many different types of poses because of the dynamic articulation, dynamic poses, vehicles, just everything you can do imaginable, and really build out a world, a Masterverse. So yeah, I love these figures, especially the look, but why couldn't they have done these in Masterverse? That's my one complaint on this, and I will show you that he does have, it's going to pull quite a bit, but he does have, whoop, he popped off. Of course, that's one of the benefits of Origins figures, is their ability to swap parts or whatever. So yeah, it's not a big deal for it to pop off. You can pop it right back on. And these are removable bands, but they're on really nice and tight, so that's a good thing. And I will go ahead and remove his whip. But yeah, same thing. He's got single jointed elbows, swivel at the elbow, hinge horizontally at the wrist, swivel at the wrist. The gauntlets are non-removable. They were also non-removable on Ram Man. He does have just your simple swivel at the waist, no ability to bend forward or back at all. And yeah, he can strike. Let's see if I'm right here. Pretty much, yep, he can strike pretty much a T-pose. Got a wide range there. He also is able to do full splits with those legs. He's able to kick up about that far, get a little stride going on. Well, he does have, this one actually has some thigh rotation. And of course, single jointed knee, as you see. And he does have, unfortunately, a boot cut, even though there's no boot. It's just a strap with a knee pad, but you have that ability there as well. And here at the thigh somewhat, as I mentioned, but the single jointed knee goes about that far, and the swivel at the knee as well. Now, he has ability to go full tiptoes, go up, wow, all the way, even beyond. And then he does have pretty decent rockers with a peg hole in the bottom. Isn't that a forward face? Yeah, it's a forward facing pin. So yeah, he gets decent rocker. It just seemed to be stuck a little bit there. Now, this guy is top heavy, so you may need that peg stand somewhat if you're going to put him on a shelf, because he's going to want to topple over for sure, but he's going to look good doing it. Because this guy, I just think he looks really, really stellar. Really nice. Cool. Now let's do some comparisons. Now, this is very interesting because this Ram Man is not just taller than his Cartoon Collection Vintage Origins counterpart over here. This is the Cartoon Collection version, which they nailed his face too. He looks just like the Filmation. Well, this guy does look just like the Mike Young. And in Mike Young production, Ram Man was tall, whereas in the original cartoon, Ram Man was very short. Here's a picture of that to prove it, to show you, you know, in the cartoon, he was shorter than He-Man and pretty much everyone. But yeah, so let's move him out of the way and show you that this guy is easily 7 inches tall. Easy. When he's standing completely, you know, standing up completely. So moving on in our Masterverse Ram Man here, as well as our Classics Ram Man, you can see that he's even taller than them by a hair. These guys are pretty tall themselves, you know, because that's Classics. He's big, he's bulky, he's a good size. The Masterverse Ram Man was a tad short, but I love the design because they kind of mixed, I think, you know, your Classics and your Vintage and your 2000X here kind of in one here, and he just looks really good. He's my favorite. But yeah, this guy looks like he did step out of the Mike Young 2000X production. He looks good. He doesn't have the brown boots like's depicted on the package. He's got this odd green color. Can't remember what they look like in the cartoon, but that doesn't really matter much. He does have that gold top, which is right on, you know, the money. Instead of silver around the shoulders, he's got the gold as well. So, you know, definitely some differences, but that's what he did in the Mike Young production. You know, there was some changes there, but, you know, overall, he's looking really good here. Very cool. You know, we have gotten a lot of Beastmen. This is our 2000X Mike Young production style Origins cartoon Beastman next to our Club Grayskull Classics Filmation cartoon style Beastman. I do not have the Origins cartoon Beastman because that's just too repetitive. I mean, I'm satisfied with this guy looking plenty cartoon enough, and you can squinch him up, hunch him over enough to go with either line, really, as far as this Club Grayskull. I think this was Classics. Pretty sure this was, well, I know it's Classics, but I think it was Mattel Classics, not Super 7, I do believe, because we got him early on. He came with a whip, and looks great. Looks just like he came out of the Filmation cartoon, that facial expression, his color and everything, the simplicity. But then we got a New Eternia Beastman who is humongous. He was a deluxe figure. Now, this is a Hordak MX head sculpt that I have on there. That is not the original head sculpt. Just think that one looks better than the one he came with, which is typical of most Hordak MX head sculpts, are just really good looking. But that was the first New Eternia Beastman that we got, and I'll show you the next New Eternia one that we got in a minute. But I will show you the Revelation from the Netflix series. That was what he looked like in that series Beastman there, where he was kind of, you know, on his own, but also working with Evil Lyn some after the fall of Skeletor, or so to speak, death of Skeletor, which really he won't dead. But anyway, you know the story if you've watched it, and he looked more like this, kind of more of a tribal looking Beastman with scars and braided beard. And then, of course, let's go ahead and move these two out of the way just so I can move on in our Classics Beastman, who just, you know, looks phenomenal. He looks really good. He, you know, gives more detail to the cartoon line, but, you know, brought in a taller and more articulated scale for the Classics before we got Masterverse. And then, like I said, we got this particular Beastman, but then we also, not too long ago, received another Beastman with an articulated jaw. Check that out. You can open or close his mouth. It came with that big buckle thing. Definitely had more detail than our first New Eternia, and the skin tone actually matches, which it came in a lot darker. But yeah, and he wasn't as tall either. Had these removable gauntlets, as you can tell there, as they're spinning around. But yeah, he's looking really cool. I really like this Beastman. He looks totally different from anything else we've ever received, but he's looking good. But you can see that, of course, he's hunched over, but, if you count the height of his horns up here coming through his mane, he looks about as tall as our classics Beastman, but not as tall as our new Eternia 2.0 Beastman, especially not as big as our deluxe Beastman that we got from Masterverse. So there we have it. And then the only other Masters of the Universe 2000X Mike Young figure that I've opened besides these two is my He-Man. This is the 2000X He-Man, and we've done a review on him if you'd like to check that out. But he looks great beside these. I mean, again, Ram Man was taller than He-Man in the cartoon. I'm not sure about Beastman. I have to go back and look, but really head to head, if you count the hunched over head, not the horns, yeah, I mean, they're about the same height, kinda, unless Beastman was to really, just not hunch over and stand up straight. But again, I'm not sure. We'd have to check on that. But there's a comparison of what I have so far in the 2000X line. So I'm cheating a little bit here, but you can see how they look. You have Ram Man and Buzz Off. Now that is a Masterverse Buzz Off with a 2000X head from Classics that came in a head pack. But I love the way that head looks. That's the way the head looks in the 2000X line. And I just feel like that the Masterverse kind of captures a lot of the way the 2000X Buzz Off looked like. But anyway, I've got him up there flying, so he's not as noticeable in height. But there is our He-Man, and they're facing off with Beastman here. Got Skeletor in that new wave en route. But what I really want to see, what I really want is that Mundo 1/12 scale Skeletor, right? Everybody's agreeing, right? But anyway, here is the Beastman, and he does look phenomenal. I mean, I just really like the way this Beastman looks. And, this is a really nice line. They look good. And I'm pleased with them. Like I said, I do wish they had more articulation, but it's better than what Vintage was, but not as good as Masterverse. That spoiled me personally. But I'm an articulation junkie. You tell me what you think. But there is our fun with Beastman versus Ram Man. And I will say that as far as articulation and design, and even aesthetics, I pretty much would give Beastman the win here. I like the way his head moves around. And even though neither one came with extra heads, I just like the way this Beastman looks. But this Ram Man is true to form to his self too from the cartoon. So not taken away from him at all. But yeah, that is our set. Thank you so much for joining us for this Super Dave review. Come and see us again. Be blessed. Here's a few photos in the photo gallery.